Hello everyone, welcome to Miscellaneous Monthly Part 11. My name is Tim, and today we're going to be ranking every single room in Tomodachi Life, one of my favorite games. In total, there are 106 of these rooms, with varying different amounts in each version of the game, whether that be the American, European, Japanese, or even the super rare and elusive Korean version. Now, these rooms are all based on my personal opinion and just basically how they look, how they function, their theme, they're based on all of that. And with that, let's go. 106. Okay, this entry right here was arguably the single most difficult entry I could have possibly picked, because this is the worst room out of 106 of them. There are so many of them! I don't know which one I don't like the most, until I looked at all of them carefully and realized I don't like the hobby room. I just don't. And there are two reasons for that. One, the room is an absolute disaster. Like, clean up your room. And second of all, the color scheme. You have Ukrainian flag wallpaper, that's what it looks like, and then your floors, they have dark red tiles with manila grout. Are you kidding me? Grout should be gray, not white, not black, not sparkly, not manila, gray. Grout should be gray. Anyway, this room is just an eyesore. But for $160, that's not that bad of a deal for a room. My only problem, it is so messy and ugly that I don't want to spend that money buying it. I would much rather buy a cheaper, better looking room. 105. Jail. Just jail. Now, I love the theme of this room, and at $35, it is an absolute steal of an interior. But the one problem with this room isn't the actual room itself. No, it's more so how my Miis react to it. You see, I've given almost every single one of my Mii this room. And let me tell you something, every time I've given it to them, they've always said the same thing. Thanks for the thought. This interior is, well, it's something, alright. That's how every single one of my Miis has reacted to me giving them this room. I think only one Mii I've ever had has been even remotely grateful for this room. And let me tell you something, that is the second worst reaction in the game. The real worst reaction, I don't think I've ever even seen in the game. As for the second worst reaction in the game, it's basically the E-rated equivalent of Ready to Die by Andrew WK. That's basically what it is. It's basically the Mii giving you a death threat in secret family-friendly code. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this room. Otherwise, it's not too bad of a room. Comfort doesn't look all that good. Lighting is terrible. But the room itself, just no Mii I've ever had is grateful for it. And due to that fact of it just being a terrible present for any of them, it just cannot get any higher. 104. Japanese garden. The reason that this room is getting so low is because whenever I look at it, I don't think of a garden of any kind, no. I think of someone who tried to make a garden, but ended up giving up halfway. Like, I get that, like, this is supposed to be traditional Japanese, and I'm not really familiar with it, but at the same time, it just kind of looks like a sad room. Like, this room just kind of makes me sad looking at it, but other than that, I do like the plants that they do have. That's at least better than nothing. I'm gonna take a guess it's almost certainly the lighting in this thing. If it were like high noon or, I don't know, like nighttime, it would probably be significantly higher on this list, but due to it being like an orange glow, it kind of looks a little sad. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this room. The price is good, comfort probably isn't too good since there's no furniture, but that's all. 103. Family. Now, this room is so low because, well, it's just boring, and one of the benefits of this room, it doesn't cost anything. It's only able to be given to a Mii as a level-up gift, which is nice, but the reason why this room is so boring is because there are no windows in it, which just feels horrible. This room does not look like a pleasant place to live because of that fact alone. The furniture is comfortable though, and you do get a TV, which is pretty nice, but unfortunately, I don't think that TV works. So yeah, the room is just marginally better than the last room because it has comfy furniture, but it doesn't have windows, so that's a downside. 102. Natural wood. Now, this room is another one of those gift rooms that you can only give to your Miis whenever they level up, and this room is only marginally better than the family room because, well, the furniture looks higher quality because, well, it's made out of solid wood, and also it's a little brighter in this room, so yeah, it just makes me a little bit happier, and it's overall a good environment to read in, and that's about it. That's the only positives I can give it. Other than that, I don't really like this room, it's just boring. 101. Locker. For $90, this room is overall a really good deal, but the problem with it is comfort is basically non-existent with these two little cushions for furniture. There's some showers, so hey, on the bright side, you'll never smell bad if you live in this room, and you'll always be able to be clean. And also, there's lockers, which you can store all your miscellaneous items in there. And yeah, this room's basically just a far inferior version to the bathhouse room. That room is a lot better than this room. And, well, that's all I really have to say about this room. The color scheme isn't that good. The room is it's just not that good. 100. Classroom. For $150, this room is actually a pretty good deal, but my main gripe with it is it's not exactly a comfortable looking place to be. You see, I wouldn't consider school to be a place that I'd want to live, and I don't know why any me would want to live at school, unless they're like really big into like academia or whatever. I don't think that a person would want to live in a school, and I don't think those desks would be comfortable to sleep on. Like, to get like a couple Z's during like study hall, maybe, but I don't think, like, living here full time would be a good idea. But yeah, the Miis do have their own beds that they bring into the rooms whenever they need to go to sleep. So that point's probably null and void. But at the very least, I'm ranking these rooms based on my opinion, and I do not think this room looks comfortable to live in. And also, considering what Tomodachi life has to offer, this room is just kind of boring to look at, and kind of boring in its contents. So, yeah, stay tuned. 99. Horror. For $135, the room is, well, it's well priced and all that, and I do like the theme, but at the same time, I would not feel comfortable sleeping in here because, one, I feel like I'm being watched, two, there's a coffin in the room. Get the coffin out of the room and it would probably be significantly higher on this list because I don't feel comfortable being right next to a coffin that probably contains a vampire in it, and if that vampire is alive, let's just say it's not going to be a fun time. 98. Checkered. Now, this interior right here is a bit fancier, but it's also kind of boring because there's not really much in here. There's a couch, there's some tables, there's some flowers at least, that's good. But at the same time, this feels more like an afterthought. This feels like a room that Nintendo added into the game solely just to get the room number up. Like, this doesn't feel like Tomodachi life. Like, the horror one had a cool theme and all that, but at the same time, I would not feel safe sleeping there. In this room, I'd feel safe sleeping in here because, like, nobody would go in here because the room is so boring. So yeah, I'd be safe because of that reason, but at the same time, it just does not look like a fun place to live, and I cannot give it any higher, especially for that price tag. 97. Colorful. I do like the interior, and I do love the insane use of color, and the price is also relatively reasonable, but I have two problems with it. One, the description says it's too hard to sleep in here, so yeah, it'd be difficult to live in here all the time, specifically sleeping. And two, all the furniture is child size. I am not a baby-sized individual. I am 6'2", tall. So, yeah, I would not be fitting in any of those chairs, and if it had larger furniture, significantly higher up. 96. Children's. The room itself is colorful and it's cheap, and also the furniture is child-sized, so can't really give it too much higher. But also, the description introduces us to a very special character called Mr. Bear, the wisest individual in the land. And also, if he says this room is good, well, I can't disagree with him. After all, Mr. Bear knows best. Mr. Bear can't lie. Nah, I'm just kidding. Mr. Bear is full of crap. This room is only 96 because, well, child-sized furniture, and it's not exactly the best-looking room. 95. Sparkle. Now, yes, this room is an eyesore to look at. One positive thing I can tell you about it, there's no more glitter left in the world. I made an entire Fun Facts I Made Up video about how much I hate glitter, and that part was not actually a fact I made up. I actually do despise glitter. It was the whole statistic about how people who use glitter have like 137,000 times more microplastics in their body than the average person. So basically, glitter users are basically made entirely out of glitter. They don't have white blood cells or red blood cells or just cells in general. Their cells are glitter. They are glitter. And this room would be perfect for them. In my opinion, this room's not the best, and I would not want to live here. 94. Nouveau Rich, or however you pronounce that word. Now, this room right here is an eyesore, just like the last one, but it's a higher class eyesore. You see that diamond right there? Let me tell you something, if that diamond were in Minecraft, you could probably make an entire suit of diamond armor out of that thing. That is a massive diamond, and is that a koi pond underneath the floor? I think that is. I just noticed that now, and that's kind of insane. Those pots on there look pretty cool. They're yellow. I don't know what's on them. I'm gonna take a guess dragons, but even dragons aren't enough to save this room from being 94th place out of all 106 rooms in the entire game. And that's because this room is exorbitantly expensive and just doesn't look all that good. 93. Antique. Imagine Antiques Roadshow, but sad and depressed. This $280 boredom fest is basically Antiques Roadshow, but without the charm. You see, that show reminds me of being at my grandmother's house, and I have positive memories of that show. Meanwhile, this room right here reminds me of some horror movie that I was forced to watch. Yeah, I'm not really the biggest fan of horror movies. I think my favorite horror movie would probably have to be either Critters or Little Shop of Horrors, one of which is a musical, and the other which is a movie that most people have probably never heard of, that, in all honesty, is more comedic than actual horror. So yeah, that's my personal opinion on this room. This room is just unsettling. I don't really feel welcomed in this room. I more so feel like I'm gonna get haunted inside this room. 92. Dressing. At $60, this room is actually really cheap, and it also has a pretty good amount of mirrors in it. My main gripe about it is it just doesn't feel special. It doesn't feel like it actually has any worth to it. This room just feels like a gift that you just give to a me at the last minute, because, I don't know, the scenario I imagine this room most commonly being used in is it's like 9:30, and before your me decides to go to sleep without your permission, you have to give them one gift in order for them to level up, and this is the room you happen to give them. And luckily, they level up. So yeah, that's probably the one scenario in which I'd imagine actually buying this room. Other than that, this room is just really boring. 91. Tiled. Now, this is another free level up room, and this room right here kind of reminds me of someone who had way too many tiles, like way too many of those ceramic tiles, decided, you know what, I'm gonna paint them and stick them on the arms of my sofa, because that's what it looks like right there, and it does not look pretty, but overall, this room isn't all that bad. 90. Elegant. Now, I don't really like this room all that much. It just kind of seems a little bland, but hey, I do like the walls of red and white. That's at least nice, and it's not some disgusting color combination like washed out blue and urine yellow like the first room. And the floors are hardwood, not dark red tiles with manila grout. I'm still not over that. Anyway, this room's pretty good at $150. 89. Gothic. Similar to the horror room and the antique room, I don't really feel safe in this room because I feel like I'm gonna get haunted and or I'm not welcome, but at the same time, the room does have a really nice view of the moon, and that pretty much single-handedly saves it from going lower. 88. Plant. I like plants, but at the same time, I feel like they're kind of hard to keep alive because, let me tell you something, yeah, you can water them, but at the same time, if you forget and it's for like a single day, then that will go into a cycle which you forget for multiple days, and boom, the plant's dead. But hey, on the bright side, Grace still plays, and Let's Game It Out would absolutely love this room, as it contains plants, and anytime they play a game that allows you to place plants in your office or around like a theme park or something like that, they absolutely love it. 87. Floral. Now, let me tell you what this room looks like. It looks like someone asked their grandmother to design their dream room for themselves, and, well, this is what they came up with, and props to them. It does look nice and comfortable, but it's personally not my taste, and $150 for this room is a little expensive, but hey, it does look comfy. 86. Hospital. I just gotta say something. This room also reminds me of Grace Still Plays and Let's Game It Out, but not exactly in the sense of their love for plants, more so in the sense that both of them love building the worst hospitals humanly imaginable in hospital simulating games. But hey, this hospital is created by a company called Nintendo, who isn't exactly very happy whenever people modify their games, so this hospital is safe. For now. 85. Polka Dot. Now, the Polka Dot room right here actually looks quite nice, and it looks pretty cozy, but it's also one of the free rooms, so I'm not exactly a big fan of it because I feel like the free rooms in general are just not all that, like, unique. They just don't feel special, and they feel like just rooms that were added into the game just to add more variety. Anyway, I do like the room, it's not that bad, and we only have one more free room before we're finally out of them. 84. Mask. For $200, you can have a bunch of masks looking at you, and it's kind of unsettling, but hey, the room is well lit, there's a lot of hardwood floors, the carpet looks awesome, and yeah, it's $200, which is a bit much for this room, but hey, at least it has that wonderful looking carpet. That's pretty nice. And also, the masks, they look like you can just remove them and take them out or flip them the other way around if you don't want them looking at you. So, yeah, I feel like a lot of the problems I have with this room can be fixed, but overall, it's okay. 83 and 82. The girls' room and the boys' room. Now, these two rooms are both childhood rooms and are mainly for children me's, and the girls' room is $120 while the boys' room is $110. The reason the boys' room is getting 82nd place is, well, I'm a boy, and also the boys' room has an airplane hanging from the ceiling, which reminds me a lot of the Lego Ninjago dragon that I had hanging from my ceiling back when I was younger. I still have the Lego Ninjago dragon, they're just not hanging from the ceiling anymore. Overall, both of these rooms look very comfortable and well designed, but since they're more children's rooms, I'm gonna take a guess the furniture is probably smaller. So yeah, it's not exactly the best. Number 81, bicycle. Now, I love bicycles and they're really cool, but I don't exactly want a room that's entirely themed around all of them because there's just a sofa, a small shelf, and everything else is bike related. Like, I would love to implement my bike into my room design, but at the same time, I want some of the room to be for me and the other non-bike components, but overall, this is still a really good room. 80. Frontier Sunset. Yeehaw, partner! let's go riding out into the sunset like it's the end of one of those Indiana Jones movies, because, let me tell you something, I love the theme of this room. It's a very good-looking room, but at the same time, it lacks furniture. All you have is that covered wagon, and I don't exactly know how I feel about sleeping in one of those in the middle of the desert. But other than those points, I think it's a good-looking, very reasonable price room. $300 is decently expensive, but overall, for what you're getting, I think that's a good price. 79, Roman. Now, I do love the Roman pillar design. I think it's a very nice design and all. My main problem with the whole design is that there's no roof to go under whenever it starts to rain or thunder. But on the bright side, considering that this looks to be like a Roman temple of some kind, it is probably very close to a major city, so don't worry. You're close to human settlement and you're not in the middle of nowhere like the last room. Also, the price is pretty good. 78, European. Now, I think the European room overall looks good. It has 2 places to sit, it has good lighting, it has plenty of furniture. I like the color scheme. It's not my personal favorite, but nothing about this room really screams European. It just screams overall well-designed living room. Not too bland, but also not too crazy. It's overall a pretty well-designed in my opinion. And that's all I really have to say about this room. 77, Lady Jet Setter. Now, I really like this room because its name sounds cool, Jet Setter. Whenever I think about that, I think that this room is inhabited by, basically, whenever I see that room, I always think, oh, the person who lives here is a fighter pilot. That's cool. But the room itself is overall well priced. It's a relatively simplistic room. I do like the pink and white color scheme in this room. It's very nice. And that's all. 76, Purple. The purple room is $100, which is a really good price for what you get. You get a white wood floor, you get bright purple walls, you get purple chairs, dark wood furniture. It's overall a very well-designed room, and considering that purple for the longest time of human history was considered a color of royalty, this room definitely feels royal and very high-end for the price. 75, Office. I love this room mainly because, one, it's cheap and it's always a good gift for me because this is one of the rooms that they overall react relatively positively to, and 2, it's a room that has 2 desks in it, which probably means it has 2 computers. One computer for gaming and fun, the other computer for work and seriousness. Nice. You get 2 computers for the price of $60. That's a wonderful deal. 74, Bohemian. Every time I think of the word Bohemian, I always think of Bohemian Rhapsody, and also, looking up the word Bohemian in order to get an idea of what it truly represents, basically it means people who are free-spirited, and overall the room is pretty nice. It's open and spacious, it's colorful, and the price is also really good. 73. Music. This room right here reminds me of the hobbies room and just the fact that it feels like there are items just scattered throughout the room, but overall in this one, it doesn't have the hideous walls and flooring to make it look even worse, so yeah, overall the room is really well designed, and it's only $260, which, yeah, is a little pricey for what you're getting. I overall think that this room is really good because if it has stuff like synthesizers in there, which usually run for several thousands of dollars, yeah, you could probably sell them at the pawn shop for a couple hundred at minimum, and you could be totally fine and make a profit off this room. It's a wonderful room in which you can make and listen to some truly epic music. 72. Ice. Now, this room right here is $200, which for a room that's completely frozen and very unpleasant to be within would be a terrible deal, but it does look pretty, so I have to give it the point. And also, this is probably one of the best looking rooms in the entire game, as it's made entirely out of ice, and I just think it looks really pretty, and it overall deserves this spot, mainly because of that. Overall comfort's probably non-existent because it's solid ice and all that. So yeah, this room is just okay on a comfort standpoint, but absolutely phenomenal in a visual standpoint. 71. Cave. Fun fact, I actually once slept in a cave, and overall it was actually pretty pleasant, and the reason why this room is getting this point is because One, it's very cheap at $80. Two, it has a phenomenal view of the forest. And three, you get to meet bears, some of which might actually be friendly. 70. Empty. This room right here is probably one of the best and worst rooms at the exact same time. The best part being that it's completely empty, meaning you can do literally whatever you want to the room. The worst part, it comes with absolutely nothing and has basically no comfort and is also blindingly bright. That's basically all. 69. Exotic. I don't really have all that much to say about this room. It's just overall a good looking room that has plenty of neat looking furniture, and the room also looks cozy, but at the same time, it's not the best. I feel like it could definitely use its slightly more bright colors. 68. Modern Asian. This right here is the last of our level up rooms, and after this point, we're not going to see another free room in the entire game, and overall, I think this room is the best because 1, the floors are made of a beautiful red wood, 2, the walls are simple, but that doesn't really matter. The furniture is nice, they have a plant in here, not a crazy amount like the plant level up room, but overall, this room also has a window as well. Yeah, if you go into the free mode in Tomodachi Life and look around, you can actually see a window, which is actually a very nice little touch in this room. Definitely makes it feel a lot more homey. 67. Log cabin. Now, if Abraham Lincoln was alive watching this video, he'd probably put this within its top 10 or something like that. But overall, I think this room is top 67 because it's overall a really good room. The price is decently high, but overall this room is definitely very cozy, and it's just a very charming room, and I just love it. 66. Pumpkin Patch. Now, this room right here is $300, and yes, is a bit expensive to not have any furniture, but at the same time, this room gives me memories of the times in which me and my family would go to the pumpkin patch every October, and overall, that just makes me happy, and this room reminds me of that, so yeah, that makes me happy. 65. Steampunk. For $230, this room is decently priced, and also, if I were a member of the Adeptus Mechanicus, this room would probably be my #1 pick, but since I'm a normal human being who doesn't exactly find industrial machinery to be the most comfortable place to sleep, yeah, this room is just getting 65 because I do love the theme, but at the same time, it's not the most comfortable. 64. Ring. Now, this room kind of reminds me of the final boss battle in Donkey Kong 64, in which you have to get into a literal boxing match of King K. Rool, and let me tell you something, I have never played that game, but somehow I know that, and that is actually one of the reasons why I don't want to live in this room. You see, I have a feeling that when I'm sleeping in this room, someone is going to WWE body slam me while I'm just casually sleeping. That is what I feel like is going to happen if I live in this room, but other than that, I do like the theme of the room. It's a bit expensive, but hey, the room is actually pretty cool. 63. Wild West. For half the price of the Frontier Sunset, you can get overall a better room. You have a roof over your head, you can have drinks because, well, it's a bar built into the building. You don't have to drink alcohol, you could also have water as well because, well, it's the Wild West. They have water. After all, why would people live in this community if there's absolutely no water? So yeah, overall it's pretty cozy, but yeah, considering that it's the Wild West and the Wild West is pretty chaotic, yeah, I don't think it's the safest place to live. 62. Relaxing. Now, this room right here looks super comfortable, and it also looks very cozy, and I would not mind going to sleep in this room, but at the same time, that's all I really feel like doing in this room. I don't feel like drawing in this room or playing games in this room. I don't feel like doing anything else other than sleeping in this room. That is all I really see myself doing from just the way this room looks and how it's lit. Other than that, the room is actually really good looking. 61. Country. Now, this room right here has a lot of yellows in its color scheme. It has some greens and oranges as well, and it kind of reminds me of the previous room, but even more so. That previous room was more of a sleeping, relaxing. This room is more of an awake, relaxing. So, I can do relaxing activities while awake. I don't feel like I want to constantly fall asleep while in this room, because one, it's too bright, and two, it's just a very nice, lively feeling room. I don't know why it's lively, but there's just something about it that just makes it feel alive. 60. Scandinavian. Pretty much the sole reason why I'm giving this room such a high ranking is because of its description, some assembly required, which is a reference to one of the greatest stores on Earth, IKEA. I love the IKEA reference in this room, and that's literally all. 59, yellow. This room right here is the same price as the purple room from earlier that I really liked, and this room is basically the purple room, but even better. It doesn't have as much of a royal feel to it, but it's just a really happy room. It has some comfort to it, and overall, I just think it's a well-designed room that I would actually be perfectly fine with living in. 58, palace style. Now, this room is about 700,000 Korean won, which is about $700 in the regular Tomodachi Life game. And the reason why this room is so high, even though I'm not exactly the biggest fan of its aesthetics, is just how mysterious this room is. One, this room only exists in the Korean version. It's not even in the Japanese version of the game. And two, this room is actually kind of awesome, I'm not even gonna lie. I love the subtle little architectural components within the room itself. I think it's pretty neat. 57, library. For $100, this room is full of books, and those books, the reason it's getting such a middle ground ranking is because those books could either be absolute masterpieces or they could be absolute garbage. I don't know, but overall, the room is a very comfortable looking room and it has lots of books in it, some of which are probably really good. Overall, this is a very nice room. 56. Golden. At $20,000, this is by far the single most expensive room in the entire game. No joke, the second most expensive room, you could buy 4 of them for the price of this singular room. And this room, it's just okay. Comfort's probably not very high because everything's made out of solid gold, but I really can't say much more than, oh, it's a room made of solid gold. It's awesome, and due to gold prices increasing over the years, this room is getting even more valuable by the day, and that's something that is really good about this room. It's not exactly a good room, but it's a good investment. 55. Jendokdi style. Now, that's what this room is roughly called in Korean, and from my knowledge from doing research, basically, it's like a little yard area designed for, like, fermenting food and all that in order to make certain dishes. The room itself is actually a really nice design and is very happy looking, with the pink tree outside, which I'm going to take a guess is a cherry blossom. It's a very beautiful room, but overall, it's not my personal favorite. 54. Wizard. This is a really good room if you want to make potions and stuff like that and just want to experiment with random chemicals, but overall I wouldn't really want to live in this room because, some of those chemicals might be extremely toxic and might have toxic fumes, so yeah, that's a possible risk, but other than that, I do think that this is a really cool room, and it also proves that wizards are in fact real, in Tomodachi Life at least. 53. Suites. This room right here, in my opinion, is probably the single most mid room in the entire game. After all, it's 53, which is half of 106, and this room right here is just okay. The price is good, the theme is incredible, and overall comfort is pretty decent. 52. Fast food. This room right here, basically everything is made of fast food, and I think it's a really cool theme for a room, but overall, I feel like this room will get pretty tiring after a while, because unless the food is like full of preservatives, it's gonna start growing mold and attracting bugs and all that, and it's just gonna be a really gross place to live. but hopefully a lot of it is like fake and decoration, but there's some real fast food all around. 51. Cartoon. This room is cheaper than the previous two, and the reason it's getting a better ranking is not just because it's cheaper, but also because it's a cartoon. If you've ever watched a cartoon, you would know that cartoons have some really weird physics and really weird logic, which can actually be quite useful in the real world. So if this room, it has the ability to be affected by said cartoon logic, this room could be a really cool place to do cool things. 50. Halloween. This room right here is awesome. I love the theming of this room, and one thing I really like about it is that it takes place at night. This is actually one of the few rooms that I think benefits from taking place at night, because I usually don't like rooms taking place at night since it usually makes the room overly dark, but this one right here, that adds to the theme and makes it more horrifying, and also I like the jack-o'-lanterns. Nice. 49. Crystal. Now this room is very expensive at $1,500, but I can't help but really like this room. It's bright blue, it's a very beautiful looking room with all these crystals, and also these crystals are probably worth a whole lot of money, so you could probably sell them to people in order to make tons of money, and this room is overall a good investment. But unfortunately, there appears to be no furniture in the entire room, so comfort is basically non-existent. 48. Fairy Tale Castle. Now this room right here, you get both a castle and a unicorn, and you also get flowers and trees, which all of that together is a truly wonderful combo. And inside the castle, there's probably some truly incredible furniture, but unfortunately it's probably too small to actually use. It's probably more like a dollhouse, if anything. And other than that, I do really like the room. I especially love the unicorn touch. 47. Fluffy. This is single-handedly the most comfortable room in the entirety of Tomodachi Life. I don't even think there's a single room in this game that can even come close to this. It just looks so comfortable. So yeah, other than that, I'm not really a big fan of the color scheme, and it's a bit too bright, but it's still an incredibly comfortable room. 46. Monochrome. Now this is one of the cheaper and one of the less interesting looking rooms, but I just cannot help get over the design of this room. I really like the design. This right here, in my opinion, is minimalism done right. It's a very minimalist design, but it also looks welcoming at the same time. Not as welcoming as some of the other rooms, but there's just something deep down inside that just really makes me like this room. 45. Galactic. This is the second most expensive room in the entire game at $5,000, and this right here, back when I first started playing Tomodachi Life and I unlocked it for the first time, this was by far my favorite room back then. But since I've moved on and I've had other rooms as my favorites, and as it's number 45, it's currently not my favorite, and there's still 44 other rooms that I think are overall better, and 2 of them are actually not even in the American version of the game. But yeah, I do really like this room, and with the non-American version of the game mentioned, let's go on to 44, which is none other than Showa, also known as 50s Japan. Let me just tell you something, I absolutely love this room. I love the vintage 50s style furniture. It's a very beautiful and very simplistic room that has a really nice retro feel to it, without feeling too retro and too antique-like. It feels like a room that could reasonably still exist today, and that's the thing I like about it. It's a room that's functional to today's standards, while not being too overly modern. It's old-fashioned and functional, and has all the amenities someone could possibly want. It has a TV in it, may not have an HDMI port, but hey, you could always get an adapter for that. And also, this room is just really cool. I love it. 43. Medieval European. This room is getting its sole ranking because 1, it's medieval European, and 2, it also has a suit of armor in it. Hopefully that suit of armor is actually wearable and isn't just a statue, because if it's a statue, it immediately gets last place, but if it's wearable, than it gets at the place it currently has, and it's just a really good looking room that definitely screams medieval European. And whenever I think of that time, I think of knights, dragons, wizards, and witches, and like all that stuff, and this room definitely gives me those vibes. 42, laboratory. This room right here gives me very heavy Dexter's Lab vibes, but also, this room is a dream come true for all those people who want to be evil scientists whenever they grow up, because that's kind of like a meme of like a child's dream job, just evil scientist, but when you really think about it, it's so cool being an evil scientist. You can do basically whatever you want, and you also have your own really cool workspace to do it, full of extremely complicated machinery that makes all sorts of silly sounds and silly creations, and yeah, it is a bit expensive at $800, but if that's the price it takes to become an evil scientist, count me in. 41, holiday. This room right here is basically the polar opposite of the laboratory, because if you do evil scientist experiments, you're going to end up on the naughty list, and Santa is not going to come to your house to deliver you your presents. This room right here basically just shows what you could have instead. You could have a room in which Santa comes and brings you presents, but in the other room, Santa doesn't come because he's afraid that you're gonna zap him with like your ray gun or something like that. So yeah, be good and make sure to always leave out some milk and cookies for Santa and his reindeer. 40, bathhouse. This room is only $65, and I mentioned something very similar to this room. That was when I was reviewing the locker room, and that room I gave a really low score because it wasn't really all that comfortable and all that. This room is basically the infinitely better version of it, because you have not one, but two bathtubs, one of which can be used for bubble baths, the other one can be used for like ice baths or something like that, and it also has a really comfortable chair to sit in also. Like, I don't know, if like you're doing your nails or something like that, you could have somewhere nice to sit down. 39, photorealistic. This room is just really cool looking because it doesn't even match any of the other rooms in its styling. No, the thing that this room is, it is basically the equivalent of just going outside in real life, but on a 3DS, a console whose resolution is no joke 240p per screen. That is the resolution of that console, and the fact that this room looks somewhat lifelike is actually pretty cool. But also, I do feel like that the interior should have been a multiple choice thing, where you can choose between multiple different interior options, because, yeah, I do like this meadow. I feel like it would have been a lot better if they gave us the choice to choose between multiple different types of photorealistic interiors. But other than that, I really do like the interior. 38, wedding. Now, I've been to a wedding before, and overall it was a very happy and wonderful occasion, especially the after party for the wedding, in which it involved, like, dinner and all that. That was pretty good. Now, my main problem with the room is its price of nearly $1,000. Like, don't get me wrong, this room is very happy and all that, but the only food in this room is a wedding cake, and the only furniture are tables and like a little arch with some flowers on it, which is not very good for furniture, but overall, it's a very happy, upbeat feeling room. 37, rain. Now, I personally like the rain, particularly I like sleeping whenever it's raining outside, because that's just a very special feeling environment that's just really cool and just a really pleasant ambient sound. But I wouldn't want to sleep in this room because, yeah, the room does have an umbrella provided for free, but I can't just hold up an umbrella the entire time while I'm sleeping. No, I move around while I'm sleeping. But if I can bring a tent into this room, it's going to be so much better, particularly a waterproof tent. And also, the price is just an absolute steal. It is incredible, and I really like this room. 36, Rock Club. For $240, you get your own club. It has a bunch of cool pictures on the wall that I can't read due to the low resolution, but also, this is a pretty cool little room because, yeah, it's a bit dark for my liking, but also, whenever I think of a rock club, I always think of, like, a little darker. The lights are more so focused on the actual band members rather than, you know, the rest of the room, because they're the main focus of the room, and depending on who is playing at the moment, this room could either be a number 1 room or a 106 room, because, yeah, there are some not very good musicians out there, and let's just hope they don't go up onto the stage. Overall, this is a pretty fun, but not exactly comfortable looking room, and it's definitely gonna be loud. That is where the discomfort comes from. Not really the chairs. I could survive the chairs. It's more so the insanely loud noise. Not even, like, from the actual playing, more so, like, whenever the microphone does that high-pitched screech thing, if it does that, and let's just pray it does not do that. 35, Training. This is where all the strongest me's live. All the strongest me's have this as their main room. They don't have any other room. They don't have comfort. No, they have pure training. And when they need to sleep, they just sleep on the hard concrete floor. Because that's how the Spartans did it. Even though the Spartans didn't really have what we would consider concrete by modern standards, but still, you get what I'm saying. The reason I'm giving this room such a high ranking is because, well, who doesn't want strong me's? You want your me's to be able to defeat the Dark Lord from Metopia whenever you port them over, because if they can't, they're failures. They are failures if they can't. So this room will allow them to become the strongest beings known to man. 34, Kitchen. Now, unlike the other food-related rooms, this room right here contains actually healthy food, so that you can live in this room for a very long time and not have to worry about, you know, diabetes or nutritional problems. And also, this room has clean water, unlike the fast food room, which only has soda. This room has the cleanest, purest water in the world, and it's delicious. You better enjoy your water, and I just really like this room. It's just cozy, and it reminds me of a wonderful place to cook some food. 33. Humble. This room right here is actually awesome. I'm not even joking. First off, the floors are made out of broken pieces of wood on top of dirt. And 2, the appliances that these people have in the room, no joke, I'm not even kidding, they're not even real appliances. They're just drawn onto pieces of wood, which is just awesome. And also, this room is very breezy because, well, beyond that dirt right there is actually an opening to the outside world. And this room is just awesome because it is less than $10. You know what you could choose between? You could choose between Automation's V16 DLC or an entire room. You could choose between that, and I would choose this room. 32, Soccer Stadium. Now, soccer isn't my favorite sport, but I will have to say this is actually a really cool looking stadium right here. I just really like the room, and also all the people in the background are all cheering for you, so yeah, they're gonna need to be quiet if you want to sleep in this room, but at the same time, they're all cheering for you, and overall their positivity beams towards you and makes the room just ever so happier. 31, Bedroom Style. I absolutely love this room, and this is my favorite of all the non-American version rooms in the entire game. First off, you have a beautiful art panel behind your bed, which is just awesome, and I love the Korean furniture in this room. The traditional Korean furniture or royal Korean furniture, I can't really tell, but I just love it. This room is awesome, and it looks just truly comfortable, and it's a wonderful place to sleep. 30, Arabian. You get a bookshelf, a camel, and a magic lamp, all covered in this beautiful purple color. this is just a really cool looking room, and I absolutely love the purple color scheme in this room. It just feels royal. And also, there's a magic lamp in this room. It better contain either the Robin Williams genie or the Will Smith genie. I know that the live-action Aladdin movie wasn't as well received as the original, but I'd far more take him over the Jafar genie from either versions of the movie. Because, yeah, Jafar is evil, and I do not want to unleash Jafar upon the world. But other than that, the room is a relatively well-priced room, and it is absolutely beautiful. 29, Sky. This place right here is, like, the perfect place to have lunch. You're high in the sky, you have a tree, you have a bench, you have a table for you and your friends to sit at, and you also have a lamppost, which is very nice, and the price is a bit high, but it's still a very nice room. 28, Traditional Japanese. Just look at the walls. Just look at them. They have beautiful paintings on there, and I'm just gonna say this, I don't care about the price. This room is absolutely worth the price for just how beautiful the walls are, and you get a little lantern, which is really lovely. 27, Skyscraper. Now, the sole reason why I'm even putting this room here is because of the view you'd almost certainly have. You see, if you're in a skyscraper, you quite literally look down on everyone else, and that is just awesome. And I've always loved that about skyscrapers. I've always been fascinated by skyscrapers, and I just think that's awesome. 26, Pet Cage. Now, this room is cheap, it's comfortable, it has food, it has water, but most importantly, it has a hamster wheel for you to run in forever, and that is awesome. I've always wanted to run in a human-sized version of one of those hamster wheels, and with this room, you finally can, and this is one of the reasons why this room is so wonderful. 25, Mystery. Now, yeah, the room is a bit expensive, but just look at it. It is beautiful. The background is beautiful, and you even have Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and a bunch of other things going on, and that is just awesome. You get some friends along with you, and you even have a spooky yet beautiful looking room. 24, Pirate Ship. This room, all I want to do while in this room is sing Harambe Pirate Gorilla by Rumahoy. You know what, now that I think about it, I'm actually going to put that song in the description. It's a really good song. But other than that, this room is actually really cool, and I think it's a phenomenal room. 23, Seabed. This is actually one of my favorite rooms due to the fact that you get both a manta ray, a shark, and a bunch of fish. Hopefully, some of those fish are delicious, because if you're living in the ocean, you're probably going to be a pescatarian. Like, there's no cows or pigs or sheep or chickens to be eating. No, it's just fish and seaweed. That is all there is to eat. So yeah, I hope you guys like fish, and I do, personally. And one of my favorite things about this room, it has a pirate ship in it. Well, a sunken pirate ship. And considering how many sunken ships exist in the world right now, I think that's a really good detail for the seabed. 22, Campfire. What is not to love about this room? You get s'mores, you get a tent, you get to be with your friends around a fire, telling ghost stories and stuff like that. It's a really wonderful vibe, and it's also a really good room, and also, with that fire, you'll never get cold. 21, Space Station. Now yeah, the room is $2,000, but at the same time, you're in a space station. That is cool. Just think about that. Imagining to sleep in what is effectively a more high-tech version of the International Space Station. That is awesome, and is totally worth the $2,000, especially considering just how expensive it is to get to the International Space Station. 20, Industrial. Now, for $200, this room is an absolute steal, and I've always loved the way that this room looks, being both harsh and comforting at the exact same time. With concrete walls and red wood floors, it's just really, really cool, and I've always loved the way this room looks, and I just feel like this room is just a really cool place to be. It's not the most comfortable to look at or probably to be in, but at the same time, it is like my favorite type of aesthetic. I love industrial aesthetics. 19, street. Personally, I'm too scared to actually go skateboarding because I feel like I'm gonna fall on my face and get hurt, but at the same time, this room is really cool, and I love the aesthetic of the somewhat grimy nature of this place, while at the same time, it's also bright with, you know, the city background. I just think it's a really cool design that this room has, and it's just a really neat aesthetic. It's not exactly an aesthetic I'd want in my room, but it's a really cool aesthetic nonetheless. 18 and 17, English Garden and Spring. Now, I love these two rooms very much. They're both very lively in my opinion. I love the plants in them. The English Garden doesn't have as good of plants as the Spring room, and also the Spring room has cherry blossoms, which are absolutely beautiful. And both of these rooms are absolutely phenomenal places to have lunch in, because, well, the Spring room looks like it takes place in a park, the English Garden kind of looks like it takes place in someone's backyard garden, and both of them are aesthetics that I really love. I think these rooms are phenomenally well designed, and since they're both $400, I think they're actually pretty good prices for what you're getting. You're getting two beautiful rooms, but I do think the Spring room is overall better because I think that cherry blossoms are very pretty and are better than whatever the English Garden has. But I do like the English Garden a lot. 16, Versailles. Let me just tell you something. This room is basically the golden room, but done perfectly. Because, one, this room has actual furniture that isn't just made out of solid gold. You have a couch that's plushy and probably has some pretty decent cushioning for the price of this room. Because if you're spending this much on a room, you're not just getting some cheap IKEA furniture. No, you're buying top-of-the-line luxury furniture for that price. And also, this room also has windows and red curtains, and it's not just gold, so the color scheme is overall more diverse. And also, this room just feels more comforting and just so much better in every single way. And it's also a fraction of the price. 15, Tropical Resort. Just look at the view you get out of the window. That is pretty much single-handedly why this room is even getting that ranking. I can just imagine this room having an absolutely beautiful view and not being too far away from the beach, which is a plus for me since I absolutely love the beach. 14, Art Gallery. I love this room because of all just the random items in this room. There are some art pieces, and then there are just some modern art pieces, which basically means that just someone just threw something together and then claimed it to be an art piece, and they somehow managed to get like $50 million selling it to the museum. But other than that point, I think this is actually a really good room, because there are actually some paintings here, meaning that someone had to put some level of effort into the art here, and also I love how someone just drove through the wall with their car. That's wonderful. 13, Winter. Just look at the absolutely beautiful sky in the background. That is one of the few reasons why this room is so high up. Also, it has penguins, several snowmen, some skis and a snowboard, and even an igloo, which I find absolutely wonderful. And also, this room is just incredible looking, and I just love it. It makes me happy every time I give me one of these rooms, and they're always happy to receive it. 12, Disco. For $1,000, this room is a bit expensive, but hey, it's also the perfect place to listen to Payama by Termion Kadkalat. Yeah, this is the perfect place to listen to it, not because of the album cover, absolutely not. No, that song is a perfect disco song. Payama is not a metal song with a bunch of swear words in it and Finnish. No, it's not. It's a completely family-friendly disco song. Other than that point, this is actually a really good room. 11, Arcade. I could just imagine living in an arcade basically being many people's dream come true because, come on, it's an arcade. Everyone likes arcades, to my knowledge. I know some people probably don't, but still, you get what I'm saying. Arcades are awesome, and they have awesome games inside of them, and it's just a really cool place. I love the aesthetic of this room. I love the variety of machines in this room. And this is just an incredible, absolutely incredible room with just the way it's designed, the way everything is laid out. It's just wonderful, colorful, lively, and just I can't say anything more about this room because this room is just incredible, and that is just all I have to say about it. 10. Cinema. This room is absolutely wonderful, especially if you're watching a good movie, because let me tell you something, watching a good movie in a cinema with a couple of friends is probably an experience that can't be replicated anywhere else. That's why streaming movies does not feel the same. That is why watching them in person in a movie theater is just one of the best ways to experience them. Just with some friends, in a dark room, in some comfortable chairs with some popcorn, and it's just wonderful. Yeah, the popcorn and candy and drinks may be overpriced, but it's still a wonderful experience that you can't get anywhere else, maybe except for a drive-in theater, but that's a little different. 9. Train. I absolutely love trains, and I've always loved them, and I have especially loved them ever since I was a very little kid, and let me just tell you something, being able to live in a train sounds awesome. You get to go wherever you want, and you also get a wonderful view, because a lot of train tracks are built on the side of mountains, which is an absolutely beautiful view you have, but the only downside I can really think of is, well, any bumps within the railroad tracks you're gonna feel. It's gonna rattle throughout the whole car, and yeah, it's gonna be noisy, but hey, it's a train. Trains are awesome, and it's just an incredible experience that I think is totally worth the price. 8. Mid-Century Modern. Now, this room is a little more basic than the other rooms, but I love the color scheme. All the oranges, the yellows, the subtle dark greens. This room is absolutely beautiful, and I love it. And also, it has a vector chair right there, which is awesome. And this room just looks comfortable. It looks comfortable, the rug is absolutely incredible, and just, I love this room because it's so bright and just fantastic looking, and it just looks like a really cool place to be. 7. Prehistoric. This is without a doubt the best looking room in the entire game, but it's only 7th place because there's no furniture, and also this room has a hazard inside of it, particularly the dinosaur, which, according to my research, is this particular dinosaur I don't know how to say the name of, and is about 16 feet tall, so yeah, is definitely strong enough and large enough to accidentally kill you if you get too close to its eggs. Or intentionally, I don't know. I don't know how territorial this particular dinosaur is, but yeah, it would not be safe to try and mess with this dinosaur. So yeah, this room requires some form of caution. 6. Garage. This is probably one of my favorite interior rooms in the entire game, particularly a room that takes place inside, because this is in a garage with a car. And let me tell you something, all the tools in the garage are fascinating, and I think they're really cool, and also cars are really cool as well, and I just love this garage right here. It's a really cool place to be, and it's also relatively spacious, so you have plenty of space to do other projects if needed, and it's just a wonderful room. 5 and 4. Flower Meadow and Meadow. Both of these rooms are absolutely phenomenal, with the Flower Meadow being $200 and the regular Meadow being $150. Overall, the regular Meadow I think is slightly better due to it having a tree involved, but the Flower Meadow also has one advantage of having hills in the background, which overall adds a little more depth to it and doesn't just make it feel like it's just a random square floating in the sky. But both of the rooms are very joyous looking and are very happy to look at, and they make me happy just looking at them, and my Miis always appreciate receiving them as gifts. 3. Gamer. This is the last room on our entire list that is over $1,000 and takes place indoors, so yeah, this is the last time we're going to be seeing these two types of categories of rooms, so yeah, this is the best of those. But the reason why this room is so high, just look at it, it's awesome. You have tons of gaming equipment, and it's just a wonderful room, and I think it's kind of obvious since I'm a decently big Nintendo fan. This room is, well, it's just wonderful. 2. Beach. I love the beach. It's probably one of my favorite places on the entire planet because, one, you can build sandcastles, and two, there are just so many cool things about the beach, such as the ocean, all the cool seashells you can find, and just occasionally you'll even find some animals like crabs and maybe some fish that wash upon the shore, which is a little sad, but overall, the beach is just an incredible place to be. It is truly wonderful, but as long as you don't get sunburns, that's the one negative I can think about for the beach. Other than that, it's a truly wonderful place, and for me, it is nothing but pure joy and bliss. And last but not least, the #1 best room in the entirety of Tomodachi Life across all versions is the secret base. I absolutely love this room. Let's talk about the benefits real quick. 1, it's cheap at $110. 2, it's comfortable. It has a couch, which is probably extremely comfortable. And 3, it's just a really cool environment because it's a treehouse. I never had a treehouse growing up, but I did grow up watching Treehouse Masters, and that show was awesome. Peak television. And let me just tell you something, this house right here, it's nowhere near as fancy as those tree houses, but it has the same charm to it that those tree houses had back when I used to watch the show more regularly, because this is an awesome tree house, and it has a big open area, and my favorite thing about this, whenever you give the owner me a Wii U, they'll bring over their friends in order to play Wii U at their treehouse, and it's just one of the most fun and comforting things I think I've ever seen my Miis do. It's an event that makes me happy to watch. I absolutely love it, and that is why this room is getting first place. And with that, I have gotten every single room in this game ranked, and if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching all the way up to here. And something I want to tell you, while I was making this video, the Tomodachi Life sequel was confirmed to be coming out soon. Unfortunately, it's coming out in 2026, which is a bit of a wait, but at the same time, the fact that a sequel is coming out at all is just incredible. And also, with this video, it was originally supposed to come out on my birthday, but due to a mix of research and, just forgetting an entire room and the actual counting, and also just a little bit of procrastination as well, the video ended up being delayed. And, well, I really hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any different opinions on the room rankings, you can always leave them in the comments below. And anyway, that's all. Bye!